What's happening, Nation? It's Joe Q. Happy Super Bowl Eve to everybody out there. I know everybody's excited about the game tomorrow. I'm super excited about it. Got a big food platter all set up. It's going to be a good time. I should be able to get out of work in time to at least be able to catch the second half of it. I know a lot of people have been going back and forth on who they're going to end up rooting for. I honestly think Tampa Bay is going to end up winning this game. I think that defense is going to be too much for the Chiefs to overcome. I think their missing pieces on the offensive line is going to kill them. So I'm not going to say it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to end up being a pretty good game. But I think Brady's going to end up winning this thing one more time. And that's another reason why you don't bet against Brady, as much as I hate to say that. But, I mean, the dude has stepped up time and time again. On another note, as far as the Super Bowl goes, one of the Kansas City Chiefs assistant coaches was in like a really bad car wreck. He had his kid in the car. It's not looking good, man, so prayers out to him. I do not like that team, but I'm not going to wish anything bad on any individual out there, so it sucks, man, especially having the kid involved. So prayers out to them, and then congratulations to our Hall of Famers out there. First, congratulations to Violator, man. You deserve that. You truly deserve that. So props to you for getting that honor out there. I think that's totally huge. And then, I mean, Seawood going in, that was honestly expected. And then Tom Flores finally getting the recognition that he truly deserves. Makes me extremely happy, man. So it's going to be a big one for the Raiders, or for the Raider Nation. So I was super happy to see that. But I don't want to waste too much time. I want to jump into it. I want to start talking about this defense and just what Gus Bradley can bring, what the Gus Bradley coaching staff can bring, how it's going to look different, and just to see if this has to be like a complete rebuild of this defense, or if we do have some of the pieces in place to where we have a 7 or 8 person core to where we just need a few pieces to really set this thing off, because I really think we have a decent amount of depth out there. So I don't know, man. I really want to know what you guys are thinking, so hit me up. Let me know let me know your thoughts on it. If you're new to the channel, please do think about subscribing. I really do appreciate that. So, all right, man, let's just go ahead and jump into it right off the bat. If you can see from what I have set up on the screen, I do not have Max Crosby in this starting lineup that I have drawn up right now. I know I'm going to catch a little bit of hell for that, but I really think Max Crosby and the way that he plays against the run is a little bit detrimental to our defense. But I think that dude is a huge asset as far as bringing him in like that Arden Key rotational role where it's just second and long, third and long, just get your ass after the quarterback. I think he's perfect for that. And I really think that if Tack McKinley ends up staying on this team, he's going to give him a serious run for that starting position. At the end of the day, I really think he's going to end up winning it out. I think Farrell's going to end up staying locked down. I know a lot of you guys go back and forth with me that Farrell sucks, that he's a bust. I really don't see it. I think that kid is a hell of a defensive end. I think he's stepped up and progressed every year that he's been in the league, and I'm really expecting big things out of him. But then if you look at that defensive tackle position, we got Hurst sitting next to Hankins out there. I did not even put Malik Collins on my list. I didn't even take the time to cut that little dude out. I do not think he's going to end up making it on this team. Same thing with David Irvin. I do not think that's going to end up happening. So we got to take a look at that defensive tackle position. I want to go after that defensive tackle position in the draft. I think we have a bunch of holes we have to fill on this defense, but I think that should be our number one priority. I mean, if we can get Leonard Williams, I'll take that all damn day. That's going to be a huge price tag attached to him. If the Raiders pull that move, it's going to eat a lot of money, but I mean, we've all seen it. We got some moves we can make that'll free up a ton of money on this team. But that's a big one, dude. We have to address that defensive tackle position. If you start moving back into that linebacker core, I got Littleton, I got Kwiatkowski, I got Morrow. I really think Littleton is going to make a tremendous leap forward underneath Gus Bradley. I think that's going to be a huge difference for him. I think it's going to put him in a situation where he's more comfortable. He's playing a scheme that he understands more. I understand it's not going back to a 3-4, but it's still a 4-3 that gives the linebackers freedom to kind of either drop or push up. And he started to look better once Gunther was off this team, but it was too little of a sample to really base it off of. But I really think Littleton's going to take a huge step forward. He has to. If he does not, then we have to chalk him up as a bust. And I do not want to see that happen because he is one of my favorite players on this defensive side of the ball. Kwiatkowski, he is what he is, man. I'm so damn happy that kid has panned out. He had his little injury at the start of the year, but he finished the damn thing strong, and he's been looking incredibly good for us. And then Nicholas Morrow, man. Before last season started, he was one of those guys that I kind of wrote off this team, and we were bringing in younger talent, and Muse was going to end up stepping up. Then we went out and got Raekwon, and then Morrow ended up coming out and playing great this season. He still lacked in the coverage of the running backs, but as far as keeping up with the tight ends and the little crossing routes, he was in position the majority of the time, and he was making some big hits in the running game. I think he's going to end up sticking around, continuing to progress. I'd like to see him and Raekwon kind of splitting more time, and then just kind of having Muse backing these guys up a little bit. And And as far as that middle, or as far as the other linebacker spots go, I think it's time we move on from Kyle Wilber. I think his time has come to an end. Kind of sucks to say that because he has been a Raider for so long. But at the same time, I really think that, I understand he's great at special teams, man, but that's a roster spot that we need to have just an extra depth piece at. Because when Wilber ends up hitting the field as far as being on our defense, it's not a good look, man. And then we'll jump into the secondary real quick, and then we'll hit your guys' comments up. Mullen and Arnett. I'm totally confident in Trayvon Mullen. I think he's going to be awesome for us. I still think he's our number one corner. I don't have any doubts about that. He kept up with some of the best wide receivers in football and played damn good this past season. Arnett is constantly hurt. I want to bring in a veteran cornerback. Or maybe I don't want another rookie coming down because I want it to be like a true competition for Arnett. But I want Arnett to have the ability to be able to sit back and work into these rotations and just kind of play a more limited role at the start of it and kind of get his body up into the shape that it has to be able to play through these games. He started last season injured, and it just never got better, and then it progressed, and then he was on the IR, and then he was on that COVID crap, and it just sucked to see, man. So let me know what you think about that, because a lot of people still want to see Mullen and Arnett as our two starting corners. I'd like to see Arnett take a little, not a step back like in his gameplay or anything, but a step back and having like a true veteran presence at that cornerback position. And I know Gruden's been out there talking to Richard Sherman, and they've been twittering back and forth so they don't break any of the league rules. But I would like to see Sherman come onto this team. I don't think he'd end up being a crazy price tag. I think that would be the perfect addition to have. It would kind of be like Witten was, except on a way higher like performance level, and just being able to coach these young like up and coming corners that are going to be huge for this team. And then I think Jonathan Abrams, the next guy that I wanted to talk about real quick. Jonathan Abrams, I've said it before, man. The dude sucked in coverage, but he was great in the run game. He was great as far as stepping up and breaking up plays. But with Gus Bradley's defense, Abrams going to be the kind of guy that you can have out there that can float. Like, he'll be able to do, like, line up next to Littleton, line up in these interior gaps, line up all the way on the outside, and just kind of completely float the field. And that's what he has to be able to do. But you have to have that safety over the top. And I sat through, man, I've been sitting here messing with this last night, getting all this set up, and I was like, well, you got to put somebody back in that top safety spot out there. And it's pretty much came down to, you stick Heath back there, no chance in hell. You stick Harris back there, no chance in hell. So the person you have on the roster to play that single high safety right now is Joyner. And he played that with the Rams and looked pretty damn good. And then when he came to the Raiders, we ended up sticking him in that nickel spot. And we also saw the shit show that became. And I hate to say that because I really had high hopes for Joyner. But I really think if Gus sees that and then can bring him back to his original position, it could end up looking really good. And then you'd have that veteran safety presence. But I think there's a hell of a lot better safeties that we could bring onto this team, especially if we're in a need for hunting for money to bring on some of these bigger names, which I don't see us bringing on any like truly huge names, but I'd like to see us bring on one or two, but we're going to have to free up some money to do that. And I really think we have the people on this team now that we can cut to make that available, and we wouldn't have to really fill those holes as much as people think we would have to, especially with somebody like Trent Brown. If we keep our entire offensive line intact, you get rid of Trent Brown, you bring in a rookie right tackle, then we can cover that. Like, we can have the extra linemen kind of shift that way. I don't think it would be a huge mistake, but then you're talking about going offensive line in the first round. I've heard a lot of talk about that. I would not be surprised by that move at all, just to give Carr two lockdown tackles that are young and they're going to be on this team for a good minute, give them a little bit of a comfort level. I think that would be huge for them. So I think that's a very real possibility. But then everything else besides that, I'd want to go defense. A lot of people out there have been talking about Ty Williams being cut from this team and then bringing in T.Y. Hilton, which is a very real possibility from the things that I've been seeing. But I don't know. I don't even want to do that. I think if you're going to move on from Ty Williams, you're going to move on from Aguilar. I don't want to see us bring in somebody like that. I'd rather see us bring in like a true legit number one wide receiver. And a lot of people still want to keep Aguilar. Aguilar led the team in drops. Was top 10 in the league in drops. And then he's going to ask for like 10 or 11 million. Man, if you're going to pay a dude 10 or 11 million dollars a season, he best be your damn number one wide receiver on that team. Ty Williams was honestly in those first 5 games before he got hurt was on a better pace and playing better than Aguilar played, even though Aguilar had a damn good season. So I don't want to get too much into the offense, but I just had to get that off my chest real quick. I don't know. Just let me know what you guys are thinking, man. We're going to keep bouncing around. We'll keep jumping into these guys, but I wanted to see what you guys were thinking. And then Arden Keyes, another one that I think could honestly end up being in this rotation, possibly sticking around on this team. I know even myself, I wrote him off towards the end of the season because he played a couple just kind of bad games, like back-to-back out there, and it sucked to watch. But the kid showed talent. He's showing progression. He's putting in work through the offseason. So he has a shot at still fighting for one. I'd really like to see, where's he at? Kendall Vickers stick around on this team. I think Chris Smith's going to be a guy that kind of bounces from that practice squad to the active roster like he's been doing. But I'd like to see Vickers take a step forward and really become part of this starting rotation. And then another dude that you won't see cut out there on this little list is Carl Nassib. Carl Nassib, we paid a ton of money to, and he was a healthy scratch twice this past year. It's a big, big red flag, man. And it kind of pissed me off, but it just shows that we need depth on this offensive line. I did take the time to cut out Vic Beasley just so you guys wouldn't get pissed at me, but I still, in my heart of hearts, I don't think that dude's going to end up making the cut for this team. All right, man, so let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's see what you guys are thinking about this. I'm going to jump back up to the top just because I want to say what's up to David. David, man, I'm glad you can make it out to the show. I'm really glad that I really appreciate your kind words. I have my comments set over to the left, so I'm going to be staring to the left and then coming back to the camera. I apologize for that. Costas, what's going on, man? I hope you can stick around, David, man. I appreciate having you come out. Just to put in my 2 cents, I like the thought of moving on from Nelly and Ty Williams for T.Y. Hilton, but I do feel Williams was a good red zone threat, and most people overlook that. David, that's 100% fact. He was much better in the red zone than Aguilar was. He's a bigger target. Plus, he was able to get up and kind of hit those corner routes better. Let's see, get back to the defense. PG definitely set us back. Too many talented players have been thrown off the tracks by him. I will give you that, but that really has me concerned about a dude like Keyshawn Nixon. A guy like Keyshawn Nixon who just kind of suffered underneath Paul Guenther, is he going to be able to make that step forward, impress Gus Bradley enough to stay on the team? I really like Keyshawn Nixon. I really thought he was going to be a bigger part of this defense last year. I thought the same thing about Isaiah Johnson, and we saw how I'm going to put it on Guenther. Just kind of looked past those guys, didn't really give them the opportunity. Same thing with Raekwon McMillan not being able to hit the field. I really thought he was going to be a way bigger part of this defense, and I think those are things that we were missing out on as far as that we could have taken advantage of to really help this defense, and that comes back on Guenther just kind of screwing us, man. I don't have any issues with Aguilar leaving or not signing a free agency. I'd like to see what Edwards can do. I do too, David, or Costas, but I really want to see a veteran presence at that wide receiver position if we end up moving on from both of those guys. I suspected something was wrong when Littleton looked slow and tentative from the first games he played with us. You don't go from the best coverage linebacker. No, you do not, dude. You do not go from one of the best coverage linebackers in football to looking like you don't know what the hell's going on out in the field unless you're dealing with some coaches that don't understand what the hell they're trying to teach you. The whole Guenther situation pisses me off, but I'm so glad we moved on from it. I'm so glad that we brought in a new defensive coordinator and let him bring his defensive coaches with him. Hopefully between him and Millis and the other Millis and the linebackers coach that we brought on, it should end up being a pretty dramatic difference if these guys can put their scheme and the players respond to it, man. Because if the players don't buy into it, and that's what you saw happen with Paul Guenther, the players just did not buy into what he was sitting there coaching and preaching week in and week out, and you saw it hit the field, and it looked like a damn shit show out there. Nobody knew what they were supposed to be doing because nobody was paying attention during the week. I really think with just the energy that Gus Bradley brings, he should be able to get these players to at least focus in on him and just really take it to the next level, and it has to happen. Anthony, what's good, dude? I'm glad you can make it out to the show. Let me skip back down here a little bit. Gord, have a good show, Joku. Underground, so I lose Wi-Fi. Oh, it sucks, dude. I appreciate you coming out, though, Gord. I think the O-line will go first round. Dude, I've seen a lot of talk about that. I'll take Earl Thomas and Sherman. Earl Thomas still scares the hell out of me. I am not going to lie about that at all. I really think that Sherman could bring in just a leadership, veteran, just presence to that locker room and really work with these younger guys and still be able to lock down that outside cornerback position. I know a lot of people talked about bringing him on and moving him over to that free safety spot. I'd rather see him stay as a cornerback and just kind of work with these guys. I think it would be huge for these young talent on this team, especially besides the obvious two, especially like a Keyshawn Nixon and Isaiah Johnson. I think if they can really just kind of get in Sherman's ear, they could learn a hell of a lot from him, like a hell of a lot. Don't want Thomas, but Sherman, depending on the price. I don't think his price tag would be too high. Diego, what's going on, dude? It's been a minute since you've been out. Yeah, dude, we've all been super busy. I get it. Trust me. I completely get it. Yeah, I cut Trent Brown and drafted an offensive tackle in the first, but I trust Aguilar. He and Carr are on the same page. Why let that go away? But I love the idea of signing Earl Thomas and Richard Sherman for $8 or $9 million each. Those are two huge pieces right there. And if you bring those two back together, I just don't know. Earl Thomas is a great player. Earl Thomas in your locker room can throw shit off the tracks immediately, and just kind of destroy, and not really destroy, but just separate the locker room and at a point to where we need serious unity on that defensive side of the ball. You can't have any setbacks like that. As far as cutting Trent Brown and drafting a first rounder offensive tackle, I think that's a very, very real possibility. I really think you can get Sherman for cheaper than $8 or $9 million. The drops in Philly seem to indicate a lack of concentration and focus. That would be a team mental issue. However, more relaxes, so less drops. Man, he still led our damn team in drops. It scares the hell out of me with him. 805, what's good, dude? Al, what's happening? More likely to laugh if Tampa Bay blows out Kansas City. Dude, there's a shot that Tampa Bay, just that defensive loan, if they can start getting to Mahomes early and Brady starts putting some points on the board, that defense, especially since the game's being played in Tampa, is not going to give that lead up. It's not going to be like an Atlanta Falcons type game to where Kansas City makes some dramatic comeback. If Tampa Bay ends up jumping out early, they're going to lock that game down. I promise you that right now. Oh, Larry, what's good, man? I'm glad you can make it to the show. Sherman is still better than all of our DBs except for Mullen. I agree with that 110%. Or Arnett, if Arnett learns. Arnett just needs to learn how to stay healthy, past the first quarter or the first play of a game. Put Arnett in the slot. I thought about that, Anthony, putting Arnett out in that slot position. But then when you put Arnett in the slot, you end up pulling Morrow because that's who you'd pull in that situation. So you'd bring Arnett in. I don't know if he can cover that position. That kind of scares the hell out of me, putting him in that slot. That's why I was really hoping Tanner Muse. You got Amik Robertson that can step in and play that slot position for us. That one, his size scares the hell out of me, especially with the size tight ends that we run against, and even some of the slot receivers, the way that they start lining these up when they see a dude like Amik out on the field, they're going to end up putting somebody in that slot that's like a 6'5" wide receiver that could end up getting burned, man. Sherman might have slowed down, but I want Sherman to. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm saying. Mr. Big, we're glad you make it out. That's exactly what. Bring him on as a mentor because he still can play damn good. Isaiah Johnson in the slot. I do like Isaiah Johnson in that slot position. Let me see real quick. Move him over a little bit. Because honestly, Abram would still be able to kind of do his thing and kind of float around, even if you did, because you'd have a little bit of extra speed out there. Let me see if I can pull him real quick. You'd kind of be sitting right up in here. That honestly doesn't look too bad. I just really hoping that Isaiah Johnson can make the impact and be able to prove to these guys, hey, I can go out there, I can play that nickel spot. I can get in there and I can make these tackles and step up. It sucks to say, but I've seen Isaiah Johnson blow a few tackles, but the dude is big and he is fast. And if you can work with him on just the basics of wrapping your damn arms, and a lot of our guys have to learn from that, but I really think it could be a big difference. But if you move Arnett over there into that slot, you need to put somebody else at that cornerback position. And if you don't have a dude like Sherman on your team, then you're talking about putting a Keyshawn Nixon out there. And I want him to progress. I want him to keep going. I just don't know if it's going to end up happening, man. Sorry, let me figure out where I was real quick. Oh, Andrew, what's going on, man? I'm glad you can make it out. Get a defensive tackle in free agency, draft a free safety, and put Owasu Kamara in the first round. Oh, man, that's that Jeremiah kid from Notre Dame. I really love that kid. I really want to see us bring him in. I truly do. But as far as getting a free safety in the draft, a rookie free safety that's playing a single high coverage situation in like a Gus Bradley defense, he's going to get freaking shredded out there. And it sucks to say, but there's going to be coverages and there's going to be quarterbacks that are going to be able to pick him apart as soon as they see him single high in the middle of the field, especially if Abram cheats forward and bites on something. You're talking a double move on both sides, and that kid's not going to be able to make the right choice. You have to bring in a veteran coverage free safety. That is a huge key. I guarantee you Gus Bradley is going to address that. It's not going to happen in the draft. You're going to see us bringing in probably not like a damn good like superstar safety, but you're going to see us bringing in an upper tier free safety onto this team that's like specializes in coverage. We have to have it, or his defense is not going to work. It's about damn time. The Iceman got, oh yes, King, thank you. Like about damn time. Get rid of Farrell and put in Beasley. I have dumb faith. Man, I could not pull Farrell out to put Beasley in that damn rotation. You know what I could do? I could pull Hankins and then move Farrell back to the inside and then put Beasley back on that corner. I messed around with that a pretty damn good bit. A lot of people did not like it, man. I really liked the way that Farrell ended up playing when he worked the inside of the field this past season. I thought he looked pretty damn good playing that inside defensive line spot for us. He ended up having some decent pressure out of it, made some big plays in the running game. But then you got your two Falcons out there kind of holding down the show as far as the offensive, or as far as the defensive end positions. I don't see both these guys winning those positions. I'd rather see Tack end up taking one of these spots. I really think Vic Beasley is going to end up testing free agency. From all the talks that I've heard from Gruden and from Mayock and even from Gus Bradley, they keep talking about Tack. I have not heard Vic's name tossed around very much. I think that looks pretty good, but at the same time, if you're going to get into a situation like this, I'd rather put Max Crosby where Vic Beasley is and just kind of keep rotating from there. But if you got this lineup right here, you end up getting rid of Hankins, and then you stick that Leonard in there, dude, that's insane. Like, then you're talking a defensive line that teams are going to be scared shitless of, and I'll take that all day long. Go get OBJ. Man, OBJ either works with this quarterback or he doesn't. And I don't see him and Carr gelling together, man. I just do not see that. I don't know about Isaiah Johnson. Yeah, that one kind of scares the hell out of me. I'm not going to lie. I'd rather either have Raekwon or Morrow in that spot and just run a true 4-3 and keep your linebackers on the field. But if you end up going out there and getting like that kid from Alabama or that kid from Notre Dame, it puts so much more speed with Littleton on one side and then your other linebacker on the other side, and then leaving Nick kind of to cover the middle of the field with Abram backing him up. That looks pretty damn good. Isaiah Johnson, I'm trying to keep him on this team. I don't know if it's going to end up happening, but that one scares the hell out of me, man. I'm really pulling for him and Nixon. He never gets play time. No, he does not, dude. Get a defensive tackle in the draft. Yes, I agree with that. Free agent, free safety, second round offensive tackle, re-sign good. Cut Trent Brown, Collins, and Joyner and Williams. That's a huge chunk of money right there. He never gets play time. No, he doesn't, dude. In that first year, he had that face injury. The second year, I think Gunther just kind of screwed him, man. I really think that kid with more play time would have looked damn good. Yeah, I think Littleton steps up. I'm really counting on Littleton stepping up. Farrell has to step up. Farrell, in my opinion, man, has been playing pretty damn good. I'm not worried about him stepping up. I really think you could tell he was pissed at Gunther. He was pissed at that whole system. I really think he's going to end up turning it around, man. Farrell will. I'm not worried about Farrell, dude. Brandon, what's going on, dude? Saw the news that Woodson got into the Hall of Fame. Well deserved. Yes, Brandon, 110%. That was honestly really, really damn fast. But, I mean, the dude has one of the better careers out there, so there was no doubt in my mind he was going to make it. The fact it took Tom so long just still kind of makes me sick to my stomach. How much will it cost to re-sign Morrow? Not a huge amount, like really not a huge amount at all. I really think you could probably get him for like probably that 3 to 5 range. It might be a little bit higher than 3, but if you go higher than 5, like 5.5, I really don't even think the Raiders would do it, but I don't think it's going to be a problem. Move Joyner off the team. It's a real possibility, man. It's a good bit of money. Farrell was only the defensive end playing defensive tackle. That's the thing, man. He has a lot of value being able to work that swing spot and being able to play the interior defensive line and the outside. Plus, he's damn good against the run from both, and he can get pressure from both, and that's huge, man. Larry, what pieces do you think the defense needs going into next season? I think we definitely need depth in our dominating defensive tackle that can complement Hurst, plus move Joyner to free safety. That's funny. I really like Joyner playing in that free safety position. I really think it's going to look good. I really think Gus Bradley's going to end up running with that, so we don't have to end up taking any cap hit. Even though it's only like $2.5 million, that's still money that you could end up putting towards another player, and I really think that he could step up and run that position. But I still want to see another safety come onto this team in free agency, and somebody to really push Joyner, because part of me doesn't believe that Joyner can hold down that spot. I just think he deserves the opportunity to get back to playing his original position and making the right moves And then as far as that defensive line goes, we need a defensive tackle. I don't care what anybody says, man. We need another solid defensive tackle. Malik Collins did not work out. Hankins is great against the run. And then you start moving in. We need somebody, dude. You can start running through these guys. Kendall Vickers can play the interior. I do like that. And then got Niles Scott still kind of riding, floating between the practice squad and the others. It's not going to work, man. We need to bring somebody on. Oh, Mark Twain, what's going on? I think they're fine. Any else would be a plus. Our problem was the scheme and not knowing our personnel. I think Bradley will put him in the right spot. I think that was a huge part of this. Like these, you saw it, man. At the start of plays, they looked so freaking confused in the back end. You'd have safeties talking to each other, pointing the cornerbacks in certain directions, and then the cornerbacks would be arguing back and forth. The play would be snapped, and it would be an easy touchdown. That's the kind of stuff that you have to know before the play even starts. There should be no questions to it at all. The starting D-line doesn't look too good. I think Tack is better than Crosby. I really think Tack is better than Crosby. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys. I understand a lot of people love Max Crosby, and I think Max Crosby is awesome, and I think he's exactly what we always wanted Arden Key to be. And so if you can bring Tack in to be your starting defensive end, and you have Max Crosby playing that Arden Key position, and you still have Nazip in that rotation, you still got Beasley in that rotation, at that point you're starting to look bigger, stronger, you have depth. You can get after the quarterback when you have to, but you can still contain and stop the run, especially if you're playing Raekwon out there instead of Morrow on those early downs. I think that is huge for us. Joner's got to go. Trent's got to go. Aguilar and Tyrell got to go. I'm not going to argue with any of those, man, but you got to be able to fill those spots, especially when you're talking about getting rid of Trent. So, I mean, then you go to the draft. You get rid of Aguilar and you get rid of Ty Williams. As much as I would love to see Ruggs and Edwards and Renfro kind of take over this wide receiver room, I still want to see a true veteran presence out there that has a shot at being our true number one. I do not want to go into a season having Ruggs who cannot get off the offensive line or cannot get off the line to get past the cornerback to start a play, and Edwards who just didn't get the play time to damn prove himself, being our 1 and 2, and then having Renfro backing that up, and then if somebody ends up going down, I mean, at that point, dude, you're counting on dudes like Zay Jones stepping up if he even stays on this team. Keelan Doss, who just got signed to the active or the future reserve contracts, possibly coming back on. That's not a good look, dude. And Harris, man, Harris I don't think is sticking around. Richard Sherman and Earl Thomas, again, make it happen. Make Mike Mayock, man. If he makes that happen, I would be shocked by it. I would not be shocked by Richard Sherman at all. But if we bring Earl Thomas on, dude, that is huge. I would be truly shocked by that. I don't see us paying Joyner $9 million. That's all going to come down to Gus Bradley, man. Aguilar deserves to stay. He does, but the price is right, man. That dude still scares the hell out of me. But I would take him. I'm not going to lie. I would take him back on this team. He can clean up some of those drops. And him and Carr did have good chemistry. And they did work that long ball. And I really think if Ruggs progressed, it would help free up Aguilar even more. I want to see a top safety or an interior defensive line steal in the second round. Julian, I would take that, man. But I don't know, man. A top safety, you're not going to get a top. There's like 3 top safeties in this league. And I want the best one, in my opinion. I forgot his name when he's coming out of Oregon. I really think that dude's the best safety in the league. But even him, in that, you'd have to lock him down in that first round because he's going to be gone before the first 32 are picked. Wait until we get Tanner Muse on the field. He's going to be pretty exciting because that's more depth at the hybrid player roaming the field. Larry, I hope you're right about that. I am pulling for Tanner Muse, but I do not want to give that kid too much credit until I actually see him hit the field and see exactly what he brings for us. Yeah, bring in Sherman and Thomas. How much do those two cost? If you can get both of them, because I mean Sherman didn't play, or Earl Thomas didn't play last season, so I think he understands that he's not going to take like the vet minimum, but he's going to not be too high above that if he wants to get back on the field and playing for a franchise to kind of prove that he can get back into it and be back on the field. I think you can get him on a pretty friendly deal. And I think the same thing, Sherman's lost a step. There's not a person out there that can say he lost a step, but he's still better than 90% of the corners that we have on this team, even having lost a step. I really think that he'd be the more pricey of the two, but I think you could honestly lock both of them down for easily with what you would cut Trent Brown, or honestly, you could probably cut Joyner, eat that cap, put that $2 million back into it, and then sign both those dudes. I wouldn't be opposed to Sherman dude. We need a vet presence at that cornerback position. You saw it, dude. If we would have had Prince Akamura on this team once Arnett ended up getting hurt like week after week, it would have made a huge difference on this team. 10 to 12 millions at least, probably more. It's possible, man. We got to trade back this year. Offensive tackle, defensive tackle, and a safety. We need all three of those positions. But with the way our draft board's set up, I really think you could get a pretty elite person at each of those spots. But we have to be able to play this free agency right, man. Joyner played better this season. I really thought he did. But our defense as a whole from 2019 to 2020, we had a better defense in 2019. And our defense in 2019 sucked. So you compare that to a defense that regressed in 2020. It just, I don't know, it put a real big stain on all these dudes. And I'm really hoping they can bounce back from it and get it cleaned up. And I think the new coaching staff's going to make a world of difference with that. Joyner needs to play free safety. Yeah, dude, he has to. I really think that's going to be the change you see it end up making, or the change that ends up happening. Andre Cisco, Syracuse. He was number 2 on that list I was looking at. Peterman signing was a reach. The Peterman signing, I don't know, man. Gruden loves having 3 quarterbacks on his team for whatever reason. Most teams carry 2. He likes to have 3. Peterman is not going to cost us any damn money, like virtually at all. Plus, he's somebody that completely knows Gruden's system. And I really think that by re-signing him, you pretty much have your quarterback set going into next year. You got Carr, you got Mariota, you got Peterman. It kind of gives them the freedom to move on from Mariota if they want to, because that is a huge cap hit. I think he's $11 million if we pay him next year to be our backup, which isn't crazy, but he is. I mean, he's the best backup in football right now, so you really can't get too pissed about it. I'm okay with the Peterman move. I really wanted to see us move on from Peterman and bring in a rookie and let him kind of start learning, pick somebody in the 4th or 5th round and just bring him in. But it's just not going to happen. But I think it gives us a little bit of leeway to keep moving forward. Mariota to New England. I've heard a few teams calling about Mariota. New England was one of them. Who was the other one? The Bears were pretty interested in bringing Mariota over. So it's a possibility. If you get the right price for him, man, even... Shit, as much as I hate to talk about it because I'm so sick of talking about it, if somebody's legitimately going to offer you 2 straight-up first-round picks for Derek Carr, if it's the right picks, you have to look into that, man. And I don't think that's going to happen. I'm not going to jump into any of that BS that's going around out there. But if somebody's going to offer you some crazy trade, sometimes you just got to bite on it, man. But not a good fit in New England. I don't think he is a good fit in New England, but I do think he fits that Bears system pretty well. Mariota's going to get us a 4... Oh, no, I think Mariota will get you higher than a 4th or a 5th. I really think Mariota could end up pulling you a 3rd. What's going on with Mariota and Peterman? I don't understand the signing of Peterman. Oh, stuff on what's going on. I do understand it. Just it's Gruden. That is Gruden doing it. The Texans, we may side tie, but Vax is our starter. We need defensive tackles to take pressure off of him and the others. Marinelli will help him a lot. Jason, I'll give you that. But I don't know. Our defensive line pisses me off because how you can go from being not like great or elite, but doing so damn good underneath Buckner and then bringing in Marinelli, getting rid of Buckner, and then all of a sudden your defensive line sucks. And that comes back to coaching right there, man, because it didn't change that much. That pissed me off, man. Guys, go subscribe to Raider Honcho. Man, Raider Honcho, I'm not going to lie. That dude puts on a funny-ass show. He's pretty new, dude. He's got like 600 or 700 subscribers. I do not mind plugging other channels on this channel. I've done it since I started this thing. If you have not checked out Raider Honcho, definitely go check him out. He seems like a pretty legit dude, man. Were you talking about Bennett Williams from Oregon safety? I think I'd have to look it up, Cole. I don't want to get his name wrong. I like Slater at offensive tackle. I've seen his name tossed around a lot. 3 decent free safeties. Cisco from... Syracuse, the TCU from Holland, and that's it. It's Holland from Oregon that I was talking about. That kid from TCU, I'm not too big on him. I don't know what it is. Jordan needs to leave the team. It's possible, Costas, but I really think Gus Bradley's going to give him a shot. Peterman is Mariota's tutor. Honestly, he really could be. I don't want another year of watching Joyner get cooked. I don't want another year of watching Nevin Lawson get cooked. I think Joyner stepped up. Joyner made some pretty damn big plays for us in key situations this past year, and I think he's going to continue to get better. I think Gus Bradley can bring that out of him to get him back to where he's kind of needs to be. But Nevin Lawson's the dude that I'm sick of getting watched or just cooked on this damn team. I don't want that free safety out of FSU. Watts, yeah, I'll give you. I need to watch more tape on him. Hamlin Pitt safety. I thought Hamlin was more of a like Abram type. I didn't think he was more of a coverage guy. I could be wrong on that. Obi Littlebro got some potential too. Who was that? Obi Bellavado. Yeah, dude. He just got signed. What was San Francisco? He went to. I don't know. I'm not biting on Obi's little brother. Obi kind of let me down. If Wentz is going to get 2 first-rounders, Mariota's can get us a third. That's a straight fact. Carson Wentz, man, he's going to end up getting moved on from. You know what's coming for it. What are the odds Gruden fires his own son and gets some real conditioning trainers in the locker room? Malik, I've talked about that countless times. He needs to fire every person that's family or friends that are in that locker room. His son, I hate to say it, man, but we watch our players get banged up and hurt every single year. I think you could get rid of his son and bring in a yoga instructor and our team would look a hell of a lot better. Yeah, dude, go sub that dude, man. Raider Honcho cracks me up. They need Peterman for Carr's Fortnite video. Me and Carr need to get together and play. Me, Carr, and Samoa Raider need to put out a Fortnite video. Lawson needs to get cut. Lawson should have already been cut, man. Already have been cut. Is the worst cornerback in the league, in my opinion. I'm not going to argue with you, Jason. He kills me. Like, truly, truly kills me. Ruggs is a disappointment with the rookies this season. That needs to go. Nah, no, dude. No, Jerry. Ruggs is going to be just fine. We only have 4 cornerbacks. We do, and it sucks, but I'm telling you, bringing a guy like Sherman that's going to bump it up a spot. We got some guys that can float the position. Nixon needs to step up and be able to fill one of these cornerback spots. Isaiah Johnson has to fill one of these cornerback spots. These guys have been on this team for 2 years now. They understand the speed of the league. It's not their fault that they had Gunther coaching them. I really think Gus is going to work with these guys. It's good to know. Oh, that it needs to get better? Yes, it is. Rose gave himself a D grade? Yes, he gave himself a D grade, and I guarantee you he's going to be working. Hopefully working with Renfro as far as getting off the ball. Obi's little brother is better than him, though. It's just, I know you have that same bitter damn taste in your mouth from Obi. I was so excited when Obi Melifatu came out of this team. I was like, man, he's going to be like the next big hard hitter. I really thought that he was going to be the next... Chandler from Seattle out there. I was like, dude, he's going to be the next big step up. And it just, I don't know, it killed me, man. It so totally pissed me off. Really nearly have too many injuries, more concussions, which is coaching technique. Look at the Niners injury. No, dude, the Niners injuries were insane. There was honestly, the Chargers injuries were pretty much insane. And the COVID stuff kind of setting us back. And then everybody, whenever anybody had COVID on our team, it was always like, the rest of our best damn players were the only ones that were in positions that were the way they were affected by it. Pisses me off, dude. He was such a damn bust, dude. Not a Carr fan, but I'm a Raider supporter. So if he's out as our QB next year, I hope he takes us to the promised land. Let's be for real. If he doesn't get at least 10 wins with an average D, he's got to go. Wally, I'm not going to disagree with you at all. And I honestly said that last year before we even got into all this COVID crap. But then once this COVID shit hit, I knew it was going to kind of be a wash year for the majority of the players and just coaches out there. And it sucks to say that, but it sucks to use it as an excuse because I get so pissed off when people throw that in my face when they don't come through for something. And they're like, well, it was COVID. And I was like, no, dude, that's bullshit, man. Like, straight bullshit. Not a Carr fan. I got videos coming out of the Senior Bowl, so you will see these players that I'm talking about. Watts, I'd appreciate that, man. I really would. Just be able. I haven't had a bunch of time to sit down and start breaking down these rookies. Once they start getting into the combine, that's where I really start paying attention to it. And I just haven't had a chance, just because I've had so much going on at work and so much going on just outside of YouTube and how much I love doing this. And then when I start setting up these kind of videos, it eats up even more time. So, I don't know, man. I still am pretty excited about this damn defense. Raiders' first-round picks suck in recent years. Jerry, what's going on? Our first-round picks, they've been iffy. They have been iffy, dude. But, Josh Jacobs, we ended up busting out in the first round. That ended up looking pretty good. Abram, it's looking pretty damn good. Trade back into the second round if we can get the right value for it, but maybe not. Oh, Jose, man, what's going on? I'm glad you can make it out. I don't like the excuse. I never give him. He never had a D, but come on, it's 7 years with the same results. You got to try something new. Wally, and there are a ton of people saying that. And Carr he played a decent damn year, though. That's the thing. If you look at our games this past year, it came down. Carr lost us like 2 games this past season. I will put 2 games this past season like solely on Carr's shoulders. But outside of that, it was our defense that shit the bed that ended up screwing him in the long run on the majority of these games. And I really think if Carr ends up giving up 2 losses, our defense can only give up 2 losses. And then we end up going 12-4, dude. There's not going to be a person saying a damn thing about Carr. Either Collins or Kamor. Yeah, I'll give you that, Jason. All right, man, I got to kind of make it a short one tonight because I got to wake up super early with my daughter for a church thing tomorrow morning. But I'll be back after the Super Bowl, just kind of break everything down, get your guys' thoughts on it. So I'll definitely be around for that. So until next time, guys, I'm Son Joku. Thank you all so much for coming out. I really do appreciate it. If you could please click that like button on your way out, it really does help me out and keep me growing. But we'll see you guys tomorrow night after the